Today we're on site at the Convention Centre with charter member CPB Construction, and we're going to look at the effects of the COVID-19 protocols on a large commercial site. Okay, so I'm here on Convention Centre site run by CPB, and I've got the Health and Safety Manager Linda Hine and the Construction Manager Adrian Doyle, and we're going to be asking them a few questions about getting this site up and running. First of all, how many people do you have on site, Adrian, roughly?
So we currently have 270 people. So before we went into lockdown level 4, we had 500 people on site. When we came back last week, we initially kicked off with 200 people. We've increased that slightly this week, up to 270, and plan to increase further to 340 next week.
And Linda, how big a job was it to get this site back and running again?
All up, it took us around 2 weeks to prepare this document here, which is our Alert Level 3 Restart Program guide. So between myself, Adrian, our construction manager, Rob, our project director, working in conjunction with our client to come together and produce a business continuity plan to allow our people to return back to work in a safe manner. For us, we have developed 2 additional Safe Work Method Statements, or SSSPs. So what that means for our guys and girls on site is that we have a generic Safe Work Method Statement that allows us to work in a safe, prescriptive manner while under the level 3 restrictions in construction. And then we also have a close contact safe work method statement, or SSSP, that allows our guys and girls on site to work to that 2 metre social distancing protocol, but with that it comes with extra PPE requirements, i.e. permanent face masks. There are more controls inside of that SSSP.
So Adrian, what are the main differences on site?
So what we've done is we've set up a series of walkways, so we've tried to keep everybody separate as much as possible and have very direct access to the different work fronts. We have stuff in place like an up-only stairs and a down-only stairs just to stop people coming against each other in tight access ways. We've also set up a lot of hand sanitising stations, so we've got over 25 hand sanitising stations out on site. And I guess it's pretty different the way contractors are working as well. We would have typically had a bunch of different contractors in the single work area, but we've now had to separate out all our contractors. So rather than having overlapped tasks, we now have tasks totally separate where contractor A will finish before contractor B moves into that area. The real significant change for us is to have operate a shift system. So initially, like we said, we had 500 people on site. To get that level of manpower through the entry gate in the morning, so we have controlled entry, and during lunch breaks is our real bottleneck. So the site itself is reasonably big and can contain quite a lot of people, and we can separate everybody out and have some reasonable separation between workforces. But the site facilities area and the lunch area is probably the real big bottleneck that we have. So we've gone to a 4-shift system. So we've staggered entry in the morning, we've staggered lunch breaks right across the day just to keep contractors separate, and then we allow 10 minutes between each sitting to make sure we've got time for the cleaners to implement the hygiene practices and make sure the surfaces are cleaned out and wiped in between lunch sittings.
The challenges from the health and safety perspective for the site has been to restrict where we work on site. So at the moment we have dedicated entry and exit points, dedicated travel paths with signage across the various levels of site. This allows us to maintain the 2 metre social distancing rule while still producing work.
A key theme of what we've been looking at is that the buy-in of all New Zealand has contributed to our success in fighting COVID-19. How have you found the buy-in from all the people on site for these new protocols?
It's just a different way of working, and what we've asked the workforce to do, I guess, is adapt to a different way of working. It's very regimental to make sure that we can get the amount of people we need on site.
Have you made use of any technology to make introducing these protocols any easier?
So what we do use is a QR code which directs you to an online form which guys can populate, and there's a few questions in there about symptoms. You know, a guy's symptom free, and have they been overseas or have they been in contact with anyone who has travelled who has symptoms. And we do that online every day. So we scan a QR code, guys pre-populate the form which needs to be done daily. We're also introduce temperature checks as well. So when guys do come to site, they do the declaration. Once they enter site, we then scan for temperature. So we can just understand if there's any abnormal readings or if guys are running a few degrees higher than anybody else.
So thanks Linda and Adrian for sharing your story with us. What impresses me, I guess, is the adaptability of your organisation to be able to change the way you've done business so quickly and get everyone to buy into it to enable everybody to get back to work. And I'm sure that there's lessons here that other organisations outside of construction can learn as we look to get them back to work as well. So thank you very much for your efforts and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.